This lesson is for Year 7 for the week beginning the 22nd of June. This is your lesson 4. So the title for today, why did Philip send the Spanish Armada and why did it fail? So we're still looking at Queen Elizabeth and we're looking now at someone that initially wanted to marry her, but obviously as we know she rejected him, and we're looking at the idea of why he would want to attack England. So Philip is Spanish, hence why it's the Spanish Armada. Armada means a collection of ships. Obviously to attack England you will need ships. So let's have a look what we're learning today. So I want you to be able to describe the causes so you understand why he did it in the first place. Then we're looking at the idea of trying to evaluate causes. You know, what's a short-term cause, long-term cause, medium-term cause, which cause is more important, less important. To be able to describe what actually happened in the Spanish Armada attack. It didn't just happen in one day, so for you to understand the fact that they obviously were going to leave Spain and then head towards England and what's going to happen en route. And then finally to be able to explain why it didn't work, right? So why the Spanish Armada failed. Before you do anything, you must read those textbook pages, all right? They are really, really important, all right? So that's in a separate PDF document. You know that you might well need to turn it round a little bit, right? You might want to need to obviously kind of like focus in a little bit on it, right? But you've got to read the textbook. Then there are different tasks for different flight paths. So if you are a 2 to a 3, you need to be doing this task here. So we're asking you to write one sentence to describe each of the 5 reasons in terms of why Philip sent the Armada. So what's it got to do with marriage, religion, looting, which is stealing, someone called Francis Drake, who was a very, very famous sailor, and Mary, Queen of Scots, who we looked at last lesson, and you know what happened to her. There are also a few little pictures here to help. All right, so you've got a picture of marriage and a cross through it. You've got a picture of money in South America. You've got someone with a big axe and the word Mary. You've got a picture of Spain, doesn't look very happy, some fire, some pictures from ships, and it says 30 there. Then you've got a cross, which is obviously a sign of Christianity, but then a P and then a C. And then you've got Spanish Netherlands, right? So it's obviously clear the Netherlands had a connection to Spain, and it looks like there's some crossed swords, so I think there might well have been some fighting there. If your flight path is everything else, then you need to do this table here. So you need to copy out obviously the reasons here, and then try and explain them here. Remember, all the information that you need will be in those scanned pages, right? So that's the first bit that you need to do. Then have a little look and see if you can now show some judgment, some evaluation. All right, so you've got these reasons, remember? Can you now start to say, well, actually, you know, where are they going to go? Which are the short-term ones? So the ones that happen kind of like right before the Spanish Armada. What are the long-term ones, i.e. the ones that kind of like have been happening perhaps for years and years and years, and then which ones go in the middle? Then we've got another task. So this time you need to look at the top trump cards, and they're on page 75. So again, you've got to pick your own task as such. So if you are a 2 to a 3, we'd like you to draw and label a Spanish ship and an English ship and label them with the key features. If you're a 4 to a 5, can you describe 3 key features of the Spanish and the English ships, explain which was stronger, and give a reason for your answer. So look at things like their guns, for example, kind of like manoeuvrability, how good they are kind of like moving. If you are everyone else, the English had much stronger ships, and that is why they won the battle. How far do you agree? So you could say, well, actually, yeah, that is the main reason. So you totally agree with that. And then you talk about obviously why you agree with that and why those stronger ships were the big reason, the main reason why they won the battle. Or you might say, well, actually, they played a bit of a role. So you might say to some extent. However, you might want to then introduce other reasons why the English won the battle that had nothing to do with the ships. Then we've got just a little bit of a map, just so you can get your head around it. Remember, they're going to be leaving Spain. Look at kind of like the dates to try and see what's happening. All right. Then we've got another task. This time we're using page 76 to 77. So If you're a 2 to 3 flight path, can you shorten each box from the storyboard to show what happened to the Spanish Armada? So there are 2 there to show an example for you. If you are a 4 to 9, can you summarise the events to show what happened to the Spanish Armada? Imagine the Spanish soldiers could use Twitter. All right, only a slight anachronism there. Create tweet for stages 1, 3, 5 and 7. So that's what you need to do. All right. Then last little bit for today's lesson, you're looking at why it failed. All right, why it was a big disaster. So if you are a 2 to a 3, can you write a sentence to explain why each of the following led to the failure of the Armada? So tell us something about the weather, something about fire ships, something about the quicker English ships, something about Drake's leadership, and something about the lack of reinforcements, the lack of backup in Calais. If you're a 4 to a 5, explain why each of the factors, so again, they're here, led to the failure of the Armada. What was the biggest reason for the failure? So we'd like you to do an explanation about those and then pick one which you think is the main one. If you're everyone else, so a 6 to a 9, did the Spanish lose the Armada or did the English win it? That's an interesting point, right? Often with wars and battles, you can say, well, actually, one side lost as opposed to one side winning. So what do you think? Do you think the Spanish actually lost the Armada as opposed to the English actually winning it? So pick which one, up to you, explain your points, use examples, use what you've learnt through today's lesson, and that's the end of that lesson.